Did you watch the SpongeBob version of the Super Bowl? I watched clips. I obviously watched the real one live. I didn't say, hey boys, can we change the channel to the SpongeBob version? I really want to, it's all part of the deep desperation in all of the sports leagues for younger audiences. They have realized that their normal pipelines of creating new football guys, baseball guys, and basically everything but basketball guys, the pipelines have ruptured. Specifically, over a while now because of the internet, but especially post-COVID. Kids already weren't playing and now they're not even watching. And so there's a worry, there's a fear that okay, we're making tons of money now. We have lots of people, everyone's happy, but we are only a few years away from a huge drop off a cliff, which has kind of happened with golf in a way. Golf is in a bit of a structural decline. Anyway, SpongeBob is part of that. They got to get kids to like it. If they had a live war event, I would probably start watching sports again. When you say that, what do you mean? Do you mean that you would like to watch people kill each other? Are you just saying you'd like to return to Roman gladiatorial combat? You'd like to watch live murder and then bet on it? And that would get you to watch sports again? If the NFL adds people gunning each other down, it's not the NFL, it's a different thing. They need a televised coliseum. I think we could have that with the digital age. I think if we get a little bit farther along in VR, we could have a digital coliseum where people, quote unquote, die, which could be cool. I am not going to openly support actual gladiatorial combat, which would just be murder. I'm sure as a Roman, it would be fun to watch. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to deny that if I'm a Roman, in the time period where it's happening, you think I'm skipping the games? No, I'm not going to be a fucking spoil sport. I'm going to the game. I'm going to watch it. But nowadays, I don't think we should bring it back. I think all those advertisers should just pay Mr. Beast to advise them before making Super Bowl commercials. It is a bad idea for all of them to do that. But yes, I think he would have a better idea of what makes a good Super Bowl commercial than what they created. So many of them were bad. Mr. Beast should be in a Super Bowl commercial for Feastables or something. Or you should do a video where it's like last fucking person in the circle gets to be in the Super Bowl commercial. And then it's a video about that. That'd be sick. Crypto ads were at least interesting. I guess it was interesting seeing millions of Americans get fleeced, to get FOMO'd into things that had no value and then lose that money. I guess that was interesting. Ha ha ha, this guy can't send his daughter to college anymore because he lost his money on crypto. That's fun. That's good. Hey, Shrek, I just found out yesterday that my dad had 2,000 Bitcoin in 2013 and ended up losing the account. And you want to make him feel worse? You want to rub it in your old man's face? It's 50 racks a Bitcoin, by the way, if he held on to it. Yeah, $100 million. You know what, though? Sometimes wealth can tear a family apart. Think about that. Hey, Big A, what do you think is cost effective as far as advertising? Sponsoring a whole league like the NBA or just some star players instead? Often, it could cost you just as much to sponsor a player than a league, because you can get more association. It's not like it's way cheaper to just get LeBron. Cost effective is a weird thing. But I do think in general, if you want the hierarchy of things, the number one highest ROI, return on investment thing you can do in marketing, it's an influencer that actually has an audience, a real audience that actually likes that could like your product, and the influencer actually likes it. These are all big caveats. A lot of influencer marketing spend is trash, but if you can get somebody, I'm trying to think of a good example. Maybe an NVIDIA example might be Shroud. Shroud's audience, all of those people are potential customers. They're all people that could buy an NVIDIA GPU. That's a very well-targeted influencer. He's got a big audience and they're all good customers. And then he authentically, this is for one example we did, but he authentically, without even being asked, bought 2 of the latest GPU, unboxed them live on stream and did a whole segment on it without being asked. That situation was in the data extremely effective. So if you can get that, if you could get, I don't know, Mr. Beast or you get Ludwig or something to love your product authentically and talk about it, it sells like fucking crazy. The audience trusts them, does it, it goes well. That's number one, if you can get that. So what I'm saying is if you can get Steph Curry, what they did with Under Armour, that shit worked. You and Enron. Yeah, exactly. It's all of you now get your energy from Enron, right? You all live in Texas and you get your home heating and power from Enron, the long bankrupt company. Because you've seen my hat, you've seen the support. Yeah, that's a partnership made in heaven. I do think it's funny that I've made more off the Enron trademark in the past 10 years than Enron has. I do think that's funny. That's cosmically good. How did Enron fail? The long story short is Enron was a really big energy company in the late 90s, early 2000s, and they kept lying about how much money they make. And then they would launch new things like we're going to have Enron web services and Enron hydroelectric or what. They would just make these fucking new initiatives, and then they would say these things were really profitable, and they weren't. After a while, the house of cards comes tumbling down, and you realize this company's not making as much money as they thought they were. What's funny is, so there used to be this thing called the Big Five accounting firms, and it was like the 5 biggest, safest, most reputable firms. One of them, Arthur Andersen, was the one that reviewed the financials of Enron, and because they got it so wrong and were probably part of the fraud, they exploded, and now it's the Big Four. If you're like a Zoomer and you're getting into accounting or finance, you'll only know about the Big Four, but it used to be the Big Five. They just blew the fuck up because they made the biggest error of all time by signing off on Enron's financials. How did they not notice? Truth is, they probably did. Again, I'm not super familiar on their relationship. They probably did notice. In fact, I think they did and were involved. Did SBF ever say he was inspired by Enron? No. But the guy that dissolved Enron or handled the bankruptcy of Enron is the same guy for FTX. Literally the same guy, John J. Ray. How come U.S. sports teams, i.e. NFL and NBA, don't have loads of ads in the shirts, like sports bettings and bankings, like the shirts and soccer teams? I think in the U.S. it'd be everywhere. Just a rule of the league. It's funny, like the U.S. sports leagues are more socialist, sort of, in how they operate, and the European leagues are more capitalist, where it's like every team for themselves, make money your own way, spend as much as you can. The U.S. sports leagues are really all about splitting the TV revenue equally among all teams. That's where all the money is. And so they just try to put on like the best TV product. That's the whole goal, is every team is like, we're trying to make the best TV product so that we can split the TV revenue. Didn't Jordan get fucked for a while for wearing Nikes? Saying Jordan got fucked is a pretty weird way to remember that. Jordan was fined every day that he wore his red Nikes, which caused them to be extremely well covered by the media and make them super famous instantly. And then he made like $100 million. Nike paid the fine every single time. It was kind of the opposite of fuck. It's kind of like the ultimate GOAT marketing move. If you had to market an athlete today, who would you choose and why? No idea. You'd have to pick somebody young, up and coming. I don't know. I'm not plugged in enough to know the fucking super talents. Otani, no. See, if I had to market an athlete today, I would not pick the most expensive athlete in the world. Okay, because that's tough. I'm saying you want to find somebody up and coming who's going to have a long, great GOAT status career, ideally, and then try to build a brand around them. Otani's got 4 zillion brands, and you could not afford him to become an exclusive partner or like a big partner. Again, I would probably pick, in the fields I would work in, I would pick a gamer. Some up-and-coming gamer, get really associated with them as their brand as they blow up and have a long career. It's just hard because there's no, outside of Faker, man, there's so few esports players that have any kind of longevity and fan happiness and a game that lasts a long time. It's just tough, dude. There's just so few. So few. Simple? Oh, you're talking about Simple? Like it already had a fucking 15-year career. You'd want someone like a Jmook, but for a game that's bigger. You know what I'm saying? Jmook's great, but Melee's not big enough to do anything. Jinxie? I mean, can you imagine if you'd got on the Jinxie train before he became the biggest streamer on Twitch? Could have been a great partnership. You could have locked in a year-long deal, and then he would have had Donk. Why everyone keeps saying Donk? Who the fuck's Donk, bro? Wait, here's highlights of Donk. CSGO. Donk highlights. Let's see.
Smoke opener. That is wild. Oh, it's not supposed to be that easy.
He's like hacking. Wait, it looks like he's hacking. They look pissed.
That's the face of someone like that is the face. My face.
All right, I want to see some more Donk, dude. He's a trash talker? How old is he? He's a young, trash talking mechanical god. He's 17. He's been playing since he was 4. iPad kids are rising up. This dude's donking. I'll say it. Bro, why you gotta name yourself Donk? With this much skill, esports players just pick a random fucking dumb word. You could do anything. You have so much opportunity to brand yourself. In esports, people will take your nickname at face value. You know how long it took Kobe Bryant to get Black Mamba to stick? And he's amazing. But in esports, you can just call yourself whatever the fuck you want. Aatrox's great. What the fuck's wrong with Aatrox? That's goated, dude. It's distinct. It stands out. Why didn't you sponsor yourself at NVIDIA? Infinite money glitch. I wasn't a player, so it would have been dumb. But this did sort of happen at Twitch. Sometimes people at Twitch, when I worked there, they would do classic double dips or occasionally even triple dips. I'm gonna give an example because I love this guy and it's obvious that he's great. But here's an example. Someone like Frodan might work for Twitch and they'll pay to fly him to an event at the same time as he'll take a paycheck from Blizzard and a flight to the event to do casting at the same time as he would get a paycheck from one of the esports teams. So he would get like a Cloud9 or a Tempo Storm paycheck, a Blizzard paycheck, and a Twitch paycheck for the same event and basically be working all three. That's called triple dipping, and that was pretty common among partnerships people at Twitch because they would often, as part of their job, I'm air quoting, but it is a job, but I mean, they'd have to go to events. And while they were there, like, they just had to be a partnerships person, which is like, be a point of contact, be friendly. And so you might as well triple dip. Those were hustles. Those were classic hustles.